We are here today to learn about a very exciting tool, Plannuh. So I'm having the founder and CEO, Peter Mahoney, here to join us today for Pathmonk Presents episode. And I don't want to say too much about Plannuh because Peter is going to dive right into it with us. But basically, Plannuh is the first AI-driven platform for delivering operational marketing excellence. And since there's a lot of marketers listening into the show, I think you guys might be very curious how AI can actually help you to, bring excellence into your operations. So Peter, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you, Lucas. It's a joy to be here with you today.
Awesome. So tell us all about Plannuh in your own words. What is it all about?
Sure. So Plannuh solves a problem that I experienced as a CMO. And the problem I had was that the process of management and leading a marketing team was relegated to a bunch of Excel worksheets and PowerPoint decks. And in those processes include planning, building a plan, tracking a plan, budgeting, tracking performance, et cetera. And I thought that was a huge problem. So we decided to build a platform that did that. So it is an integrated SaaS platform that combines marketing planning, marketing budgeting, expense tracking, reconciliation of those expenses with your financial systems so that you can measure ROI, and then ultimately things like ROI, proving ROI, improving the value of marketing, and optimizing your plan.
Very exciting. So it really helps the CMOs and marketers to stay on track on their costs and their overall operations. Very good. So could you maybe tell us something about the company in itself for people who haven't heard about Plannuh before? Maybe could you tell us something about the company, like maybe how many clients you're serving, or how many visitors on the page, or maybe any rewards that you've won? Something that characterizes the company a bit.
Sure. So we serve hundreds of clients right now, and around the world. It's our customers are quite global, and from relatively small companies who are managing hundreds of thousands of dollars of marketing budget up to people who are managing $100 million of marketing budget, right? So it really is a broadly applicable platform. We're about a 3.5-year-old company. I founded the company in the first part of 2017, and we're venture backed by Google's Gradient Ventures and Glasswing Ventures, which is an AI-based investment firm here in the Boston area where we're based.
Very exciting. You already alluded a little bit to the types of people that are using the product. Maybe could you tell us a little bit more? Who would be a typical client of Plannuh?
Yeah, so we've got a broad range of clients from tech companies to law firms to banks to auto dealers to dental practices. And basically, any marketer is a potential client. Ideally, though, they're spending at least $500,000 of discretionary marketing funds. Beneath that, we may be a little bit of overkill for them, and they should probably hang on to their spreadsheets for now, and they're probably good enough at this point. But if you're spending a reasonable amount of money and want to be able to optimize those investments, prove the value from your investments, then you're a great prospect for Plannuh.
Very cool. And the individuals that are running those marketing teams, how would they hear about Plannuh? Like, what would be a typical journey, right? That somebody, gets, aware about Plannuh and, in the end, getting started. Like, what would be a typical journey?
And now we're falling into your area of expertise, which will be fun because you can tell me how to refine that process a little bit, I'm sure. So people hear about it a number of different ways. Our marketing strategy is a content-first thought leadership strategy that is amplified via digital marketing techniques. So the centerpiece of our strategy is we actually wrote a book called The Next CMO, A Guide to Operational Marketing Excellence. And this has been a really, really valuable tool for us because it's designed to help our target customer, either CMOs or people who are aspiring CMOs. And because it's well-researched, thoughtful, valuable content that happens to be philosophically aligned with what our platform helps them do, it's just a perfect fit. So we tend to center our demand creation around that content approach, and we use a bunch of techniques to fill the top of our funnel for everything from paid advertising, using vehicles like LinkedIn. We use quite a bit, and we've been quite successful with that. With AdWords, we do a fair amount of retargeting because obviously we get people who are considering our platforms and coming back. And then we have a fair amount of organic just because of our content approach. We've got some great and improving organic results from the fact that we have really topical content that's focused on the problems we're trying to solve.
Very exciting, actually. A lot of different streams that bringing people to the website. Right now, what would you say is the major strength of the website, right? Is it the ability that once, somebody lands on the page that you're able to convert them into a demo, for example? Or is it the quality of the leads that it's producing for you guys? Or is it the user experience you provide? Where do you see a major strengths of the current website?
Right now, I think the strongest part of our website is our content assets. So it is a very resourceful website. So there's a lot of really compelling content in it. And I think we do a reasonable job. I wouldn't call it world-class yet when it comes to converting visitors into qualified leads. But we certainly do a good job engaging people with our content, which is our number one strategy. Because if you think about it, ideally what you want to do, and in your expertise, you understand obviously that understanding those signals of interest and signals of buying are really important to do. You have to find people at the right time. And sometimes even if you're not dealing with huge amounts of money for a platform, it still tends to be a long consideration process. So you want to be thoughtful and educational with their customer. So it's okay if they come to your site, consume the content, and you remind them to come back sometime in the future. Obviously, we want as many of them as possible to convert as soon as possible, but the reality is on any website, the vast majority of visitors don't convert, which means you have to create a great experience with great content and find creative ways to get them back.
I was actually about to ask you, since you mentioned the content being definitely, and I can see that on the page quite a bit, for everybody who's interested, who can basically just head over to plannuh.com, Plannuh, and check out the next CMO guide. There's a banner on the top. If you are thinking then about on the flip side, right, where do you see is the biggest room for improvement on the website?
There are a few things that I think we can improve on the website. There's one of the things that we're planning on doing, and we're not quite there yet, is building in real community engagement capabilities. Because what we want is our customers not only to be able to come and consume content, but participate in a discussion on our website, because we bring a lot of people, a lot of marketers to our site. We want them to be able to use it as a resource, not only for the content, but build community. So that's, I think, a gap in what we're doing right now. I'd say we have a marginal but not fantastic mobile experience. I think mobile is really hard to do really well. And I think, we've got a responsive site and it's fine, but I wouldn't call it done when it comes to really engaging mobile users, because of course, mobile users are often in a different mindset. They're often in, so your objectives sometimes have to change when you're dealing with mobile users. It's more about making it easy for them to find you again, to bookmark their stuff, to send content to themselves when they can have more time to read it. Those things where, again, I think we can be more sophisticated, and it'll take some time.
Very interesting. I would be love to coming back to the product, right? For the soon to be or current CMOs, or for everybody who's listening in. Despite that, what would you say is the main competitive advantage of the product?
There are a couple of things that I'm sure I can boil it down to one. I get very excited about the thing I build, right? So there are a couple of things that are unique, though. I think the first one, probably the primary thing, if you had to stick me to one, is the magical simplicity of what we do. So the process of planning, budgeting, tracking all the details, it's a very complicated process to get right. And there's a lot of, and it's not very exciting, complicated process. It's not like you're doing high math. It's like you're finding and dealing with a bunch of data and updating spreadsheets and things like that. And we leverage technology accelerated expertise. So basically human in the loop AI capabilities to really facilitate that process for our customers. In other words, we make it ridiculously easy for them to get content in, to pull insights out, so that they have effectively a zero effort implementation, adoption kind of approach to getting the value out of the platform. And that's the thing that people really love about it.
Very cool. If we're looking behind the curtain of Plannuh, like how would the sales and the marketing team be structured, or how does that work at the very moment? What happens to a lead if they're signing up?
Yeah, that's a great question. We currently have a strategy where we have a team of account executives, salespeople, who are, they tend to be 8 to 10 years of experience, enterprise software selling kind of people. And they're supported by a team of business development reps who are sort of lead qualifiers and outbound. Mm-hmm. So they do a combination of outbound and inbound qualification. And then we tend to go through a very consultative process. We get people interested in identify whether they have pain, whether it comes to the planning side, where they struggle with planning and developing a plan that's going to help them achieve their business goals, or do they struggle with sort of forecasting their spending and tracking, improving the value of marketing. And then based on that, we will put together a sort of a customized approach to help them understand how these kinds of solutions can help them get better results. So that's the general approach that we take. As far as a lead flow, we use HubSpot as our CRM, and we're pretty happy with it. It works pretty well. We've got some pretty good automation. So as people come in and log into our website, opt into communication, then they become part of that flow, and then we have lead distribution through there and follow up. And we tend to do, because again we're very content focused, we have a really good, high quality, regular communication of content, because I'm a big believer in, like I said, you got to engage people when they're ready. So you want to continue to have the right to send them compelling content and educate them. And then when they're ready, you have to be really good at recognizing the signal when they're ready. So either when they raise their hand, or there's a set of behavior that they exhibit that says they may be interested in taking another step. Those are the things that we have to watch out for. But you have to strike a balance, because what you can't do is, come jumping down their throat before they're ready. Sometimes people just want to be educated, and they'll come back, and we have to respect that too.
Very interesting. Since we're slowly coming to an end, right, of the interview, I would love to learn about you as a leader in the company a little bit more, you personally, right? Maybe you could tell me, what type of content do you consume? How do you educate yourself?
So I consume a ton of online content, and being in the U.S., I sit here and for the last year have been just fully consuming election-related content as our democracy is falling apart in front of our very eyes. So that's been a very interesting thing. But I try to mix it up a little bit with a combination of, I like politics, so sort of political history is very interesting for me. I like to vary it between a digital format, reading on a tablet, and a book. So I just got my new issue of Barack Obama's book.
The interactivity in the video.
Exactly. As an example, this just came out, just got released, and I got sort of one of the first shipments. So I'm excited to dig into that. So it's fun to consume also tactile content at the same way. But I'm a classic, tech-centric nerd who likes to consume things in multiple media formats. So I consume a lot of video, I like physical books, and I like digital at the same time.
Very cool. So as we're coming to the very end, I would have a couple of rapid fire questions for you, a couple of short and crisp questions and answers. You ready for those?
Ready.
What's the one single thing your company is focused on the most at the moment?
I'm sorry, the one
single thing your company is focused on the most at the moment?
Growth.
If there would be no boundaries in technology, what would be one thing you want to have fixed for your company today?
100% automation of our AI recommendations.
What's the last thing that kept you awake at night about the company?
There are a lot of things that keep me up at night. The last thing was it's probably the last time we were raising an investment round, and it came down to close, and we got close on our money. That kept me up a lot.
And as the very last question, if today would be your very first day working on Plannuh, what would be the one advice that you would give yourself?
I'd say talk to a lot of customers, and not only talk to them, listen to them, and when they say something that you don't agree with, question yourself. Don't question the customer.
Very cool. Peter, I really appreciate that you've been part of Pathmark Presents today. I want to give you the last word. If a listener would forget everything about what we talked in the interview today about Plannuh, what's the one thing that they should keep in mind about your company?
I think that marketing leadership is a really important discipline, and it's one of the last places in the enterprise that has been really automated. So it's an area where you should all look to improve, because there's great opportunity to improve your business if you improve your marketing leadership execution. So that's probably the last thing I'd say.
Great. Thanks for being part of this episode.
Thanks for having me.